Hi, so Julie Reed's joined us today, and we're going to be talking about the body code. The body code is the second energy healing technique brought out by Discover Healing, designed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And in this technique, we look at 6 different systems. In the energy system, which is quite an in-depth system, which contains the emotion code of one of the 6 subcategories within that subcategory of energies. We've also got pathogens, everything from, flus, bacteria, viruses, and everything that can affect us in that aspect, both energetically and physically. And we've also got our misalignments, everything from, physical, vertebrae misalignments and chakras, meridians, and circuits and systems, all of the different circuits and systems in the body, and nutrition and lifestyle and toxin elements. So it's a very in-depth system, and we're going to be deep diving into this today. So Julie's been practicing this technique for many years, and when did you start practicing it, Julie?
In 2018. Yes, that's when I was introduced to the body code. And it was actually, well, we were introduced together, weren't we, Simeon? We were at a conference, an anti-aging health promotion product in Dublin. And one of the people at this conference was a German doctor, a German lady. And she was a GP and she is a counsellor. She's also a wonderful musician, plays in orchestras. But she said, I'm a GP and I'm a counsellor, but the body code is the best. And I think one of the wonderful things about the body code is that it gets directly to the source of the problem. And we're living in a world of Western medicine where it's a symptom-based medicine. So you treat the symptoms and it's like band-aiding things. And when that doesn't work, you apply more and more band-aids and you end up with a shopping bag full of pharmaceuticals, which many of my clients have had over the years. And you kind of unravel all these things that have been piled one on top of the other. And then you realize why they're so sick when you start looking at all the side effects. So by looking at the source of a problem, whether it's emotional, whether it's toxins, whether it's nutritional deficiencies, or whether it's somebody living underneath an electric pylon, or there can be so many different things that can be affecting people, even their amalgam fillings. So once we can pinpoint things and help people to track back on the process that's been making them very unwell, then we can often help people to restore their health.
Yeah, it was such a joy to meet Dr. Issa at the health conference in Dublin those years back. And it was so fun the way when she was showing me the body code system and how vast a system is, like how it goes into all of the different categories and, different ways our health can become out of ease and cause disease in different ways. And yeah, it's all about tracking back to what is the underlying cause, what's the underlying issue that is causing our bodies to create the symptom, because the symptom is only just the sign, isn't it, to help us to backtrack and fix whatever the issue is.
It is, and often when we're doing a body code session, the most important thing or the deepest thing isn't the thing that comes up first. It's like you're unpeeling the layers, and often one of the first things that come up is hydration. Because if you're not able to utilize the water you're drinking, or you're not the quality of the water, if you're not properly hydrated, we are at least 70% water, and there are so many functions that need water to process in our bodies, including bringing nutrients into the cells, clearing the waste from the cells. Our brain is about 80% water. So like when we get fuzzy-headed, it's often because we're dehydrated. And our energy, if you're feeling tired, your electrical energy is carried by water. If any of you have ever been in the country where there's an electric fence, to keep cattle in their place, if you happen to have a wet hand when you touch this electrical fence, it'll be 100 times worse than if you haven't got a wet hand, which just kind of proves the point here. So, when we drink water, I've done many 5-hour journeys over the years, and when I've had my liters of water with me and I just drunk water on the journeys, it's amazing how it sustains your energy. And often we even mistake thirst for hunger. And so it's great to regulate our metabolism and just help everything to work the way it should do. And if we drink our water between our meals and not with our meals, you're not digesting your digestive juices, but you're increasing the digestive enzymes from the pancreas if you're drinking your liter of water in the hour before you eat. And that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important for our cardiovascular system and lymphatic to, help with the nutrients transportation and getting all of the toxins removed and helping everything to flow properly. And
one of the things that about 20 years ago, because I've spent my life in the health and wellness area, it's always been my passion. And over 20 years ago, probably 25 years ago now, we were introduced to a Japanese health and wellness company that did the wellness home. And one of the things that they produced was water filters and an optimizer. And that was my first introduction to hexagonal clustered water. And so when we break up the water molecules, the molecules are able to enter the cells more efficiently rather than run straight through you. And we actually have a hydrogen maker in the house now. When water is rich in hydrogen, again, it's smaller molecules and it works like an antioxidant in the cells. It's helping to charge the electrons. And
it's one of the latest crazes at the moment with high-end athletes. You see everything's about the hydrogen water, and it gives an extra element of cell signaling, I believe, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It helps with the cell signal. It improves the NRF pathways, and it also, when we have free radical damage, you need electrons to change the free radicals into oxygen particles. So it creates antioxidants from free radicals. So you're changing the whole health of the body, really, through water.
So it's really quite performance enhancing as well as improving all aspects of health.
It is.
And when we see, people who neglect drinking water, sometimes even like the hormones for thirst, stop functioning, they get inhibited because the body's gone too far, down the, spectrum of dehydration that it's not getting those hormones present anymore to tell them to drink water. So when we're going through the body code, we go through it can take us to circuits and systems, which may take us to glands. And if there's a dysfunction with a gland, it could be down to dehydration, and it could be down to because there's such a knock-on effect from not getting enough hydration and minerals around the body. These come up quite a bit in the body code, don't they?
It does, and again, it can be water quality, because if people's water is contaminated with fluoride and chlorine, these are haloids along with fabric protectors, um, and this, they knock out your iodine receptors. So this makes you very deficient in iodine, and it's not just our thyroid that needs iodine; it's every cell in our body that needs iodine. And often, most people, bromine is the other thing. And until the 70s, flour used to be reinforced with iodine, and they took iodine out of the food chain in the 70s and replaced it with bromine, which, and that's when you started to get all the cancer epidemics, particularly the endocrinal cancers, because particularly breast cancer, prostate, and all of these things. So checking your iodine levels is very important. Unfortunately, in Ireland, there's no medical provision to know your correct amount. But
Yes, and
even
I mean,
even your body temperature can be a good indicator. If your body temperature is lower than it should be, it's often an indicator that you're deficient in iodine. And if you have too much iodine, you'll probably have palpitations. So, there are some simple measures you can take. Whereas in the States, they have a lot more clinical facilities to enable people to know their correct level.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, iodine is the thing that cleans the ocean. It's what removes any nuclear waste. And if like you say, with the chronic fatigue from the hypothyroidism from like these heavy metals and toxins knocking out our iodine and creating chronic fatigue type issues from the thyroid not working properly, and then the other effect if we've too much of it being hypothyroidism. And that's why we will always test things with the circuits and systems element in the body code, and there's the toxins element, so we can piece together what your body may be storing with the toxins, and help to decode it back so you can be empowered to take the steps to improve your health.
Hmm. And working with the body code, your body is directing us into the area that needs addressing. So as we work through the layers, you can find there can be quite a few things that need to be rebalanced in the body, whether it's deficiencies in certain nutrients or, our energy fields have a pretty challenging time these days with all the electromagnetic smog and all our phones, our smartphones, and all the Wi-Fi all over the place. There are so many things disrupting our own energy field that it is good to rebalance the chakras and the meridians and the aura and all the energy systems in the body on a regular basis, just to
Yeah, and you would question how much the overload of electrosmog sometimes, or excess toxins, how they can affect the energy centers of our body.
yes. And I've seen photographs that I did have a very good documentary of this on the website, actually, and it was made by a doctor who wrote a book on this, and that was in conjunction with when we got the MIRS, the pulse magnetic mat, which restores the frequencies of the body. But the electron smog is a big issue for people. And even just, we often recommend after a body code session, or, when you're releasing a lot of emotions and you're rebalancing, to just go outside barefoot. I mean, I know this is the wrong time of year to be suggesting that. But even,
Yeah.
even if you go and hug a tree, you're still connecting with the earth. So find some way of connecting with the earth to ground yourself. And the grounding sheets are also helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a whole toxin dumping thing from getting in the sea as well.
Mhm.
But there's a storm on at the moment, and
I would like
it's
to do,
freezing
yeah.
at the moment. So health-wise, we wouldn't be recommending.
No.
Um, but there's so many different aspects with the body code that can be covered, and I guess just touching on the circuits and systems and the glands, there's so many different elements of things that can be, affecting our cardiovascular system or lymphatic system, um, and it could even be like, certain amino acids could be, missing if cardiovascular health is lacking. Because like there's great stories with the cardio for life, isn't there? As a natural supplement which has arginine, which dilates the arteries. And if you want to share with the viewers some of the benefits of those type of protocols.
Yes, the amino acids L-arginine, L-citrulline, they're precursors to nitric oxide, and when you have enough nitric oxide in your blood vessels, it keeps the endothelium clean. And it's been said many times that you're as old as your endothelium. Now that's the lining of your arteries. So if we stop those arteries from furring up, and also you can avoid them furring up as well, building up a lot of plaque through just keeping the sugars or keeping away from sugars and very acidic foods. So alkalining your body. And, it's harder for people these days to have a healthy diet because so many foods are overproduced and lacking in nutrients, and so many things are sprayed. And
Yeah.
sourcing good quality food is a lot. It's not something we can just take for granted these days. We have to put a lot more effort into it to find good quality foods. And I think supplementation, I've always supplemented, because if you have a little bit of everything every day, it just helps to maintain the balance. And,
Absolutely.
finding food grade nutritional supplements as well, like the ASEA ones are very, very good, because there's no point in taking something
You
that's
you
made.
you mean you mean food-based and pharmaceutical grade?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. You said food grade, but you mean pharmaceutical grade and derived from food.
Exactly. Sorry. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've,
because the
seen,
trouble is with some of the food grade that's derived from synthetics, and the synthetically derived things can have a lot of side effects, and we just want to have our nutrition to be derived from food, whereas it is something that we need to look out for now. Like the B12 is like a classic example, with the synthetic version being cyanocobalamin, which is cyanide as a substrate, and that's not ideal. uh, you know
no. Always look
um,
for methyl cobalamin, or there is another one, but just don't get the one from cyanocobalamin. And
yeah.
it's like when people eat animal foods, they often get a lot more B vitamins. But if you are vegetarian or vegan, then it's much harder. But even having organic free range eggs will help as well, because eggs are a superfood as well, and a whole food.
Yeah, definitely a lot of supplementation is needed on a vegan diet to maintain healthy hormone balance.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, and good quality food, like you said, with just the growing of vegetables and stuff, isn't it? Like a 70% decline in nutrient density would, it's a
At
massive
least,
amount.
yeah.
It's over 50% anyway, isn't it, with the last 50 years?
Yeah, it's at least 70%. And at least if you grow some stuff, you can put seaweed in the soil, because seaweed has 10 times as many minerals as land vegetables. And so
Mm.
when you grow things with seaweed, the food is mineral rich.
Yes, yeah. And let
And
food be thy medicine, isn't it?
exactly, and seaweed is also a good food to eat. Now, the Japanese have been doing it for many years.
Yeah. And we could go deeper into that subject and the subject of soil health and all of that. But if we're to pull it back to the body code, what would be one of your, you know,
Well,
predominant
I,
things you find coming up for clients?
I suppose these days detoxing, because we're living on such a toxic planet at the moment. We've been poisoned from every direction, and detoxing the body is just so important because it's the reason we get ill. We don't get ill if our bodies are clean. It's like a car that runs, that you service it every few months and it runs smoothly. But if we're building up so many toxins, our poor livers and kidneys and everything in our system gets less and less functionable. So detoxing enables us to have a lot more energy and feel a lot healthier, and also to enable us to utilize the nutrients that we do take in. Because if your liver's very toxic, you won't even be able to absorb nutrients very well.
Yeah, yeah, absorption is a big part too.
And so clearing things like amalgam fillings is, find a good dentist, and if they're using the dam, the mouth, the guard in the mouth, and have good suction, and you take good quality zeolite. I always find the bentonite clay, the actual zeomed, is better because it's binding, it's pulling out those heavy metals, and the infrared sauna, of course.
Okay, the bentonite clay you find better. Is that like diatomaceous earth or slightly different?
No, it's zeolite.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, I know
zeolith med,
zeolite. I know
the
zeolite.
powder, because the root brand one is also very good, the liquid, and I think there are different stages of detox where we need to do different things. Uh,
Absolutely. And when it's something like mercury, as you mentioned, when it's so severe, it's worth, doing at least a 3 to 6 month protocol after taking them out. And, maybe not stopping at that point, and maybe getting even private blood work done sometimes if
mhm,
you're wanting to stop sooner on the detox protocol. But even doing the sauna and everything, it's quite pleasurable and it's good for the body. So
mm,
it's a good thing to
yeah.
keep going afterwards anyway, because it
Mm.
makes the body feel good.
And it's so nice in the wintertime.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And as Mark was saying, like the red light therapy is
Mm.
that's the near infrared, and that's very effective as well in healing the body.
Yeah. There's so
So
many amazing things now, isn't
mm,
there?
there is. So if we go to energies, there are many types of energies that can affect people as well. Maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about that, Simeon.
Yes, yeah, please. Which section do you want to focus on in energies?
Well, I think the age we're living in now and the times we're living in, it's like our whole planet is having a cleanse, and we're moving into better times, but we're not quite there yet. So I think it's a tumultuous time. There's a lot of turmoil and disturbance, and it is like the world is in a storm. So a lot of the negative energies can be flying around the place, and it's very important to keep our own energy field clear. And there are many
Oh,
different types of energies that do attach to people. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of it's been a spiritual war, hasn't it, over the last few years, and they've been trying to attack people from every kind of angle with the whole mass formation element of it, with getting people to believe a certain story in a certain timeline, through making people very frightened in order to project an agenda across.
yeah.
Um,
So when we clear all these energies, whether it's entities or any kind of attachment or a curse or anything on a person, and then there's a very good prayer of protection that we really like as well.
Yeah, and it's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And so, before we do any body code or belief code session, the first thing we do is we ask for help from above, because it's important. And you know, there is a constant battle going on between good and evil all the time, and there's good things that can help us all the time. The same way there's good things trying to in or bad things trying to interfere with us. Um, and just touching on going like into the whole offensive energy side of things. um it's a big part of when people aren't in the driver's seat, when they don't really have control. um we saw like how much all of the suicide rates and everything went up over the lockdowns, and a big part of that is people being under spiritual attack. And it is something that influences people to do bad things, um, because it's not their higher self telling them to do the bad thing. Um, so with the process of the body code, we clear these offensive energies, whether it's curses, saboteur energy, or entities that are influencing. We go through the process of clearing all of these energies, so people can be in a better state of peace.
Mm-hmm. And also when you're clearing trapped emotions, clearing all the unwanted stuff out of the way and all the associated emotions that can be very deeply buried within us from day one or from the moment of conception and before. So clearing all of these energies out of the way frees us up, it frees our whole energy field, it helps us in our physical body, it helps prevent illness, and it helps improve anything that is disturbing us and imbalanced. So, clearing all these negative energies also enables us to be in the driver's seat. And, we're always encouraging people to journal their future because it puts you in the driver's seat of your vehicle. And
Yes, yes. Think about what they
when
want specifically.
Mm. When you start looking at what you want your future to look like, and all your what, it doesn't matter how wild your dreams are, put them on paper and just write anything that comes into your head that you think would be wonderful to be, do, or have. And it's only by putting it in your energy field that you can then begin to draw that energy towards you, because in the quantum field, it's all out there somewhere, but you're not going to bring it to you until you start having your attention on the things that you really want in your life. And that's how we transform our lives.
Yes, absolutely. And we were very lucky to have Mark Atwood put us on the map, a real master of manifestation.
Indeed.
Um, and he's someone who has the whole manifestation process down to a fine art, and it's quite powerful when he talks about his beliefs and how you can create things with them. But a big part is the self belief that you move things from your head down into your gut feeling, and that you truly believe it. Because if you don't feel you can achieve whatever your goal is, then
You
you
won't.
know you probably can't. Yeah, yeah, you need to believe it in
Um,
yourself.
and connecting with your higher self and connect with your creator, however you see God, um, the creator of us, the divine being that is love, and the love that's in us
Mm.
is where we need to be connected. And when you connect to your higher self and you learn to trust also yourself, and to feel in alignment with yourself. And that also helps your own intuition.
Yeah.
And it will inspire you to develop as a person. And Mark has achieved so much through this. Mark has incredible drive, and he's coming from a very pure place of love and connecting to the divine. And it's a great example. Look what he has achieved.
Absolutely. And I just know for myself and with using the body code, it can help with clearing the energies that come up to stop cycles repeating. Because I know if I've been experienced a cycle that's repeating and it's going round and round again, then I haven't learned whatever lessons I need to know from that. And I just find whenever you help to clear the energy with things that come up, and maybe there is some things that have been blocked out, and once there's a processing of it, we can let that experience go, extract the lessons we need from it, and just put the focus on what we want in the future.
And when we're clearing the emotions, often the same emotions will come up again and again. It's like the lesson keeps coming up, a scenario will keep coming up again and again in our lives. And it's not because we haven't cleared a situation, it's because there are hundreds and hundreds until we learn to clear it and to see things in a different way and allow it to heal. So that's when we move on. And it's a wonderful lightening process when you do let go of all the old stuff. And that, I mean, the belief code is also very revealing and helpful in that way.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the belief thing, isn't it? When it's going that step deeper and it just keeps repeating and repeating, that it can be like something that's just set from maybe the years of 1 to 7 when we've picked up that belief. And it can keep happening and repeating. Yeah, very old program. And maybe even keep repeating till we're 70 years of age. If we haven't, taken that lesson and learned what is repeating with it.
Yeah. Yes. So, and I think the reason Dr. Isa loves this work is because it's so fast. I'm a hypnotherapist. I trained in clinical hypnotherapy, but most modalities that I've known before this, and even counseling, it's a very slow, long process. But whereas this system is very fast. You're clearing instantly, and each session is doing a big chunk of work that you need to do. So it can take quite a few sessions for some people if they're not in a good space, but it's a very worthwhile process because it does enable you to move on with your life.
Yeah, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, half a dozen sessions isn't a lot if someone had been doing like 10 or 20 years worth of work, and there'd been still a massive block because whatever was subconsciously running in the back of the mind like a program hadn't been dealt with, and the issue is keeping on repeating. Then I mean, half a dozen body code sessions isn't a lot to deal with such a big issue.
Yes, and I think often people can work for a while with this system and then take a break and move on a little bit, and they might find that something else comes up that they need to deal with, because we have so many layers of our experiences throughout our lives that you can't do everything at once.
Yeah, no, it'd be too much for the subconscious.
Yeah.
There's and I think some of the experiences people have with plant medicine can be quite similar to the way we get so deep into what's happening subconsciously with the body code and belief code.
I
But
have
it's
had
not
mixed
it's not it's
experience.
not con-
Yeah.
it's not controlled. But I haven't had really either. But from clients who've you know done both. I've had a lot of clients who've done both, and
Mhm.
sometimes it can be more beneficial with just the systematic of like pinpointing exactly where it is. But it seems to be going just as deep in the subconscious with what's going on, but just yeah, the pinpointing and connecting of these events really helps to process it and let us move forward.
It does indeed, yes. And and giving yourself the space after a session to process things too. It usually takes a couple of days, um, and even if it's having a nice bath with Epsom salts or grounding in the garden, whatever,
Yeah,
do something to just be gentle with yourself and allow a process to happen.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very important to listen to your body after a session if you need to take more rest, if um and yeah, spending time in nature and helping your body process in different ways. um
So the misalignment, Simeon.
with the
Well,
vertebrae, yeah, I
you're a
mean it.
seasoned chiropractor, so you can talk a little bit about this. But if anything is misaligned, nothing can flow properly, and it will affect you.
Yeah, yeah. So over the last year, I started studying chiropractic, and the year before that, I was working in a chiropractic clinic doing massage, and I was just, phenomenally surprised by how people were getting better from such, horrendous, long-term injuries and issues. So when we look at the spine, and we've got, the nervous system running off the spine. If there's an impingement in those nerves, it can affect blood flow. It can affect our motor patterns, motor neuron patterns getting through, and it can also cause a lot of pain. It can stop power getting through, from recruiting our muscle fibers. And we've both done a lot of massage work, and we know if someone's pelvis or back is out, it can really affect the power output. I mean, if you're talking
It
about an
really does.
athlete, or someone who's doing physical work, it means that they can't recruit any of the potential of power out of their body, because the body will naturally inhibit you from recruiting all of your muscle fibers, because it's not safe to do so, because the nerves aren't connecting through properly. So if you want to get yourself stronger, you want to get more power out of your body, you want to live pain free, or enhance flexibility. Like, flexibility can be impinged so much by
Mhm.
things not moving properly with the musculoskeletal system. Um, and yeah, so it's one of the things we test for in the body code is the alignment, and everything comes up with the skeleton in there, as well as the whole muscular system too. And sometimes if we've got a misalignment, it can affect serious pain levels, like sciatica with the leg, or subfibular neuralgia with the neck, for example. And this may affect our ability to recruit our muscles. Um, Certainly, there's a lot of people who take a lot of pain medication for these. People get, new hips, and all sorts of surgeries done. And I would always be a fan of going down the alternative route first. You know, it, I always send my clients to a really good chiropractor. If misalignments come up, and it guides us to nutrition and lifestyle and body work and chiropractic,
And if
because
I can say, like,
yeah,
one of the things I came across over the years is TMJ, and it usually comes from people grinding their teeth, which screws up the whole neck if your jaw is out of alignment. And this is usually a lot of trapped emotions, a lot of anger and frustration and many emotions. So even with the body code and the emotion code, we can help a lot of those things too, because if people are really stressed, and we're living in very stressful times. So if you're completely tight and tense and then you're grinding your teeth at night, you're putting so much pressure on the body. So just releasing a lot of emotions, and even for some people to have a good cry after it is great. It's just a wonderful release because it's something they should have done years and years ago. And it can be stuff that's been stored and stored and stored in the body that just needs to be let out. Because often in these situations, people find that they'll fly off the handle at someone for the smallest thing. And it's not about that thing. It's about all the stuff that's stored inside them that needs to be released and processed.
Yeah, yeah. And it's sometimes that emotional baggage from way back when that event happened can just cause a repeating, anger, frustration from that time, can't it?
It can. Even people can develop these after a car accident, the TMJ, because there's so much shock and stress in the body.
And I'm sure when I first heard of TMJ, it was when I was working doing massage in Cork, and this woman told me she had lockjaw, and my mind just went straight away to Pitbull. But it's the same thing, isn't it? TMJ and lockjaw.
Well, lockjaw is
I just got the visuals of her latching on and biting someone. No, but that's
just grinding your teeth, and then if you happen to have mercury fillings, then that's a really pretty terrible scenario.
yeah. But it is a locking of that vertebrae, or not that vertebrae, but the musculature in the jaw, isn't it? Is it known as lockjaw too?
Well, TMJ is usually from grinding your teeth. And if the jaw goes out of line, because the jaw sits on top of the cervical vertebrae, it throws everything else out of line.
Yes, yeah. And so what's another section in the body code that you find coming up quite a lot with clients?
You tell me now.
So after a car crash, for example, people can store, the physical trauma can get stored in the body. And I remember I was working with a client yesterday, and it took her back to the age of 18, and it was linked to, a car crash with a car had flipped, and there was still a misalignments present around that, even though it was, very long time ago it happened. And the thing that came up with the body code was to go and get the chiropractic care done for it, because quite often if people have major car accidents, and there's the energetic store of that in the body, which is important to clear. But there can also be like the alignment of all of the vertebrae being thrown out afterwards. So just
Well, one of the other things, I love working with children. I think children are so responsive and so innocent, and just a delight to work with. And a child I worked with not too long ago who'd had a wet bed all his 9 years of his life. So we were able to eliminate that problem in just 2 or 3 sessions, and make his life a lot happier. And I think, for any issues that come up for children, it can be things that they're just not able to express. And we are just sponges the first 7 years of our lives. and without filters. And often just helping children is just a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, and sometimes some of the belief systems that get stored from when we're very young, that
Mm.
an example could be like, I need to be strong, or something along those lines of not being able to express your emotions. It can lead to having difficulty expressing your emotions, all throughout your adult life then, because it's a learned, beliefs, and beliefs are like programs that are running in the background, aren't they, which influence our behavior.
Yeah, so it's a very worthwhile thing to clear things at a young age to help with children's development and growth.
And is there anything that you'd like to share with the listeners before we wrap up?
Um, well, I think that this process is just very worthwhile doing, and if anyone, we do these inquiry calls if somebody wants some information. Mind you, I think we've given quite a lot of information today, but if you have any questions regarding the body code or the belief code, just please contact us. And if you have any reservations or you're not sure about something, please let us know. And if you have questions that we haven't answered today
Please
also,
put them in the comments. If there's anyone online at the moment who's watching and has any questions on anything that they'd like us to answer, please let us know.
we'll do our best to answer your
And
questions.
and if you want to book a session with Julie, there's the link in the description down below. And if you've any questions, you can also book in a free discovery call on that link too. And thank you so much for watching. And the results from the body code, if you have any questions, or if you want to see some of the testimonials, please just go onto my YouTube and have a look through the testimonials.
Yes, you're getting some great ones, Simeon.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Julie.
And thank you, Simeon. Good to chat. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.